We are going to come up on the stream very shortly. We are live on the stream. Hello, stream. We are just getting things situated for the show. You remember a couple weeks ago when I just completely butchered all of this? Remember we started the show and I was all frazzled and I'm like, what is actually happening right now? Hopefully we don't have a similar repeat of that this time around.
I have faith in you both.
Joe, how are things in NBA land right now?
Oh, they're wonderful.
Yeah? What's new? What do I need to know about as a casual observer?
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is probably the MVP right now. He has been ridiculous.
The Thunder?
Yes.
Canadian.
Yes.
Canadian, yes.
Very good.
Look at me knowing.
And then Wembanyama has taken the lead.
Yeah,
forward.
you love your Wemby. All right, we're 10 seconds out. All right, welcome back, everyone, to the second half an hour of Leading the Charge, or if you're watching this online, the first half an hour and only half an hour of the show. The Bills win yesterday 40-14 against the New York Jets, but the most important thing here is that they clinched the number 2 seed in the AFC, as we are now just 1 week away from the playoffs. So very simple. We didn't really talk a ton about the playoffs in the first half hour. Kind of wanted to save that where we could, really get into the details a little bit more. Does the number 2 seed matter as much as, I think it does? Does it matter, or is it just kind of like a, hey, whatever, you get the 2 seed, now you get a little bit of flexibility this week?
No, I think it matters. I mean, having the ability to spend your first 2 weeks at least at home for the playoffs, it is a big deal. The counterpoint to that is the Bills haven't played a road playoff game since the 2021 season, and they have exited the playoffs.
Oh, that's
at
a
home
good point. I didn't even really think about
the last 2 years.
Oh, 13 seconds was the last road playoff game.
Yep.
Okay, interesting.
So,
yeah.
I mean, it is good in the fact that they have felt very comfortable at
undefeated at
Highmark Stadium this year. But, you still have to go out and handle your business. At the very least, they won't have to go to Baltimore to play the Ravens. And that was kind of because that's the only team that has beaten the Bills by more than 3 points this year, was the Ravens when they beat them by 25.
Whoa, is that really true? That they're the only team? I mean, I know they had that crazy streak.
The other 2 losses were by 3 and 2 points.
So Houston, 3 points, Rams, 2 points. I mean, I guess that makes sense. Yep. Of the teams that they could play, we know it is going to be Denver, Miami, or Cincinnati. We just got a comment from Dave. The Bills will play the Broncos in the first round. Now, that is the most likely outcome because Denver is playing at home against a bunch of Chiefs backups.
And we know no team that plays its starters with a playoff spot on the line would ever lose to a team that's only playing backups.
It has never happened ever in Buffalo Bills history.
I've ever seen it.
No, I don't remember that ever happening. We don't need to talk about that.
Okay.
Of the teams, I mean, is it clear who would be the most favorable matchup?
I wouldn't say it's clear. I would not want to face Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Now, I wouldn't mind facing their defense. The Bills could put 40 points up on the Bengals.
But you think it's close between Denver and Miami?
Yeah, well, look, I would take Denver. Honestly, more than anything, I would take them because I like facing a rookie quarterback in his first ever playoff game.
Yeah.
But the flip side of it is if it's Miami, I mean, the Bills own the Dolphins. It's a good matchup. Now, I'd be worried about Hill, although I was going to say Waddle and Tua, although they didn't play last week. And Sean McDermott has done well against Mike McDaniel's offenses. So I'm not really worried about either of those two. I'd be nervous about the Bengals. I'd be good with the other two. I would just prefer seeing the Bills face a rookie quarterback in a playoff game first.
I very much agree. I don't want to, pin myself in a corner and be like, oh, Denver's the team. And then all of a sudden they get upset by Denver or something like that. I watched the game against the Bengals. They can get after the quarterback for sure. Bo's
got a good arm.
Bo's got an arm. He can make some explosive plays. We've seen Cortland Sutton make big plays against the Bills.
Counterpoint.
Before. Go ahead.
The Bengals have an atrocious offensive line.
Bengals have an atrocious offensive line.
The Bills have one of the best offensive lines in the league.
And Josh Allen is very, very, very good at avoiding sacks. So that would negate one of the things that the Broncos are very good at. That would be a team that I think that they should be able to beat. But there's a lot of people really fearful about Cincinnati.
Sure.
Do you understand? Is that valid?
I mean, they put up yards and points in bunches because they have to. It's self-preservation. Their defense is horrid.
The Bengals defense.
Yes, the Bengals defense is horrible. And that's why you see Joe Burrow for 8 straight weeks put up 3 touchdown games or whatever it was, 400-yard passing game against the Broncos, who usually are a good passing defense. They've got Patrick Surtain II, who is one of the best young cornerbacks in the league. So they've got some good pieces, but the Bengals were in okay, we have to outscore everyone we play. Otherwise, it's not going to be a win. And that's just kind of where they are. They've mismanaged their defensive assets. They've let guys walk in free agency that they shouldn't have. It is what it has come down to for them. So that's why their offense is scary, because that is what they've had to rely on to get where they are, and that's at an 8-8 record, mind you.
And you can make a really good case for Miami. I think Miami's just an average football team. I mean, the stats
I don't agree.
I think they're average. They don't beat real teams. They don't beat real teams.
I don't want the Bills to play Miami.
Tua Tagovailoa and Devon Achane and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and all that group is healthy, they gave the Bills a lot better of a game when that entire group
was
together.
It's like a 61-yard kick to win.
And they play better teams. They don't win. Period.
I tend to agree to an extent, but I feel like there is a big drop-off. I feel like you want to play the Broncos, then there's a big gap, and then it's slightly Miami ahead of Cincinnati.
It's hilarious because Miami and Cincinnati are on the outside looking in.
Right? Those are the teams that are the most unlikely. What is the chance? I mean, could Denver lose?
They could. I don't think they're going to.
Yeah.
Just because the Chiefs do not care at all about that game. And also, they would probably
want Cincinnati out of the playoffs.
Not want Cincinnati.
Galaxy brain, right? I was thinking about that too. Isn't that crazy? Even though that would set up the Bills against the Bengals, I think that they want one less potential threat in the playoffs.
Well, sure. I mean, it would ease up their path, so to speak, from someone that has beaten them before. And so the Bengals, they would meet them in the divisional round no matter what if the Bengals were to move out. They're not meeting the Bills until the AFC Championship game.
Yeah. I mean, for what it's worth, I did look at, I believe, DraftKings or something before the show started. The line was at 9.5. The Broncos are favored by 9.5. For some perspective, that is the same line the Bills were yesterday against the Jets. So they are a big favorite, but you can never say never in the NFL. Let's see. Joe says we are on fire. What is Joe's comment said? It said we are on fire and we are going to beat whoever we face. I mean, Joe, they're going to be favored in the first round, regardless of who they face. But I think this is about as much like not overexerting yourself and having to go into the second round banged up like we saw. Last year, the Steelers, they were huge favorites against the Steelers, and they beat them, and they ended up beating them by a couple scores. But that game was close for a lot of the game after the Bills jumped out to a lead, and they got really banged up in that game, and that bit them in the butt against the Chiefs the next week.
It's a different offense this year for the Bills.
It's just that good. It's been that good. All right, so a lot of different questions here, and we're going to go into some of the more specific things later on. This is a quick one that I want to get to from Twitter. Is Joe Brady a head coach next year? It's a good question. What do you think?
Go ahead.
No.
I agree. I don't think he is
I think
yet.
there'll be other candidates.
In the NFL or college?
In the NFL. I assume.
Ooh, you're thinking college. Ooh, interesting.
He has college roots.
He does have college roots, but I feel like at this point, it's probably NFL head coach or maybe take a job.
College is a lot of control.
College is a lot of control.
A lot of money.
Lots of money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. I believe he's the betting favorite to be the Saints head coach next year.
Interesting.
Well, the LSU ties make sense. It's the passing game coordinator.
It's not a real great spot to be going into.
Yeah, that's a little risky.
If he does leave.
Brian Daboll back?
No. I will give you a name right now. Davis Webb.
Ooh, that's fun. Who they might see in a week in the playoffs against
the quarterbacks coach of the Denver Broncos.
Oh, that's a fun
name.
And
the Bills wanted him as their quarterbacks coach forever.
Yeah. All right. Well, we shall see. Okay. Well, those are the fun little tidbits you get here on Leading the Charge. We will continue the conversation during the commercial break online, but if you're watching on television, don't go anywhere because we'll be right back. Man, Davis Webb pulling the show.
Yeah.
It's funny because I'm watching the Bengals game the other night, and they kept showing shots of Bo Nix on the sideline next to Davis Webb. It's quarterback's coach. And I'm like, oh, yeah, Davis Webb. That's funny.
Who's the Giants quarterback coach? Isn't he here too? Is there a play? No, the coordinator.
It's Shea Tierney. Is that it?
Oh, Shea Tierney was here.
Yeah.
Shea Tierney was here.
I think it was Giants. I think he's with the Giants.
Melanie, wouldn't Miami be a safe bet? Don't we always beat them at home? Melanie, the Bills have won 12 of 13
if Snoop
games.
Huntley is playing, then yes. But if it's Tua,
well, that's the difference. If it's, I say Miami if it's no Tua, more so than Denver.
It's a no-brainer.
But that is a huge. That's what I mean. But that's a huge if.
But if you rank the three quarterbacks you'd be worried about, it's Burrow first, Tua second, and Bo Nix.
What's interesting though is it didn't seem super promising based off of the comments from Mike McDaniel today about Tua's availability.
He's probably not playing.
It didn't sound like he was going to play because he said they were hoping to see more progress or it get better and that did not happen. So that tells me probably. But the thing that's crazy is they're playing the Jets.
It would be very Jets for them to win that game and ruin their draft spot.
The Jets.
Yes.
It would be very Jets for them to ruin that game. But the
Jets,
thing.
well, if they played, the Jets looked like they checked out mentally.
Aaron Rodgers looked like he checked
I think
out.
there-
Yeah,
mentally.
but
wasn't the
Tyrod
only
came in and had a. I know he was
Yeah,
playing against a bunch of
Tyrod.
backups. He had some juice.
And Tyrod Taylor is still going.
What? You just stopped like I was about to say
No,
something.
I'm sorry. I thought you were looking to get another
No.
comment in.
I mean, Richard says, "Who are you guys more nervous, the Bengals or Denver?" I mean, the Bengals are the better team.
It's
I mean, they
because
just beat
of the
they beat
quarterback.
Denver 3 days ago.
It's just because of the quarterback. I mean, like you said, look at
Mhm.
at their defensive numbers this year.
Uh-huh.
They're
Ye-
trash. Well,
yeah.
that's a little too strong. They're
Uh-huh.
not good defensively. Josh
Yeah.
should be able to. They should be able to put up 30 to 40 points on that.
Yeah,
defense.
Lou Anarumo has not been able to scheme things up because he doesn't have the players to do so.
This
year.
is a really good question from Michael. Can we save Michael's question for the next segment? I love actually this question, Michael. I'm going to paraphrase your question a little bit, just because I feel like it's a little too specific for television, but we are going to get to that coming up.
Is it why hasn't Dom gotten a raise yet?
No, it is not that question. Nate Benson, Matt Bove, WKBW. Which Applebee's are you going to in New England next week? Well, funny enough, Nate, I'm going to go to a Chili's and not an Applebee's, because Chili's
Chick-fil-A?
is the superior fast casual chain restaurant
Oh, boy.
in the power rankings.
Chick-fil-A?
No. Joe knows how much I love a fast casual restaurant.
I also know how much you love ranking things. So
Oh,
when the two are combined,
it's my favorite thing. Did you just say 15 seconds away in the control room?
Can
Is
you
that what
rank
we
the
are?
seconds from 15 to 1?
Number 7 is number 1. And then we work our way down. 1 second is the bottom
He
because
loves-
it
he
makes
loves
me
ranking
nervous.
things.
Oh, really? I didn't
Yes.
know that. Oh,
Do you follow him on Twitter?
yeah. I didn't. I just don't pay attention to
So
it.
during the commercial break, they're making fun of me because I love to rank things, like Elf being my favorite Christmas movie. It's a Wonderful
Halloween
Life.
I
Candy.
watched it
Second,
the other day. First
Halloween
time I've never
Candy.
seen it.
Isn't it
I never
fantastic?
saw Elf. My
Isn't
wife
it
and I
super
watched
funny?
It was a good
It's
movie.
funny. It's
I cried
cute.
at the end.
Holiday cheer, right? It makes you feel really happy. All right. I said during the commercial that we were going to answer Michael's question because I thought it was really good. He says, "Happy New Year, everyone." Thank you, Michael. Then he talks about horrible clock management and kind of gets into where would you rank Sean McDermott against the other coaches that are going to be coaching in the playoffs? Middle of the pack or worse? It's a fascinating question, Michael. So thank you for teeing this up for us, because I think we could be on different ends of the spectrum here. Where would you go?
I would not put him in worse than middle of the pack.
You feel like middle
I'd
of
be
the
willing
pack
to go
is the
middle of the pack.
so middle of the pack you're saying is the floor.
By the way, the guy who might actually coach against the Bills in the first round of the playoffs made a bonehead move at the end of their game in Cincinnati.
Not going for 2 points.
Yeah, of course. He had a chance to clinch a playoff spot. So my point is Sean McDermott is not the only coach in the National Football League that could drive you crazy with clock management.
Sean Payton won a Super Bowl too, which is crazy.
Zach Taylor was terrible the other day. Anyway,
Yeah.
I would say he's, in my opinion, he's no worse than middle of the pack.
Oh,
Bad coaching decisions are all over the league. They are
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
isolated
of course.
to Buffalo.
Uh-huh. But you
Rod Mayo,
but this is specifically the playoffs. Of the
Oh,
coaches coaching
well-
in the playoffs, is he middle of the pack? Is he above average? Is he below average?
I would say middle of the pack.
I would say middle because I think he is actually a bit more, and I hate this term, aggressive,
Uh-huh.
because aggressive should be subbed out for smart
Yes.
with fourth downs.
Yeah.
When you are taking rational data points and using them to your advantage, then it's just smart rather than
He's
aggressive.
gone from too safe and conservative to
Yeah.
doing it the way it should be done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. And like Andy Reid is a great coach,
Yeah.
but
This is a great point.
he does not go for it on fourth down
No.
quite a lot.
Same thing as Tomlin. Tomlin's a great
yeah,
coach,
yeah.
but he's not as aggressive. I mean, Bob says, I love this point. Players win regular season games, coaches win playoff games. And I don't,
Can I flip it around? Can we tweak it?
sure.
Coaches can lose playoff games.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I think is the fear. I think people have the 13
Yeah.
seconds in
Yeah,
their head and they have,
The first the AFC Championship game against Kansas City, he was terrible.
yeah, but I don't think they win the game regardless.
But I think
it
he
just makes it,
coached
yes.
almost nervous.
But
He
from
learned
that
valuable
moment,
lessons
yes,
from
Yeah,
from
and
that
he has
moment
evolved.
on,
That's
from
right.
that moment on, he has been a far
I
superior
agree.
coach than he
I
ever
agree.
was. I mean, we've seen that at so many times. They have almost been aggressive to a fault. We think back to the Houston game earlier in the year. They were so aggressive that they lost the game because they passed it 3 times instead of chewing up the clock. So I would say middle of the pack, but this is so tough because
Think about all the other coaches.
That's right.
Harbaugh is someone who is more about like,
Two Harbaughs.
sorry, the Chargers Harbaugh
Uh-huh.
is more like
Let's go, boys.
Very,
Yeah.
very basic old coaching style.
Yes.
Same way with Tomlin. Andy Reid is a little bit closer to that boat than he is progressive. McDermott is a little bit closer to the Andy Reid boat than, say, like the Kevin O'Connells of the world.
Yeah.
Mike Tomlin makes some
like-
really bad decisions to punt.
Like even Sean McVay, he's super conservative and he has a sterling reputation. He does not go for it on fourth down nearly as much as you would think he would.
If there was one coach that you would, want to have going into the playoffs, who would it be?
Honestly, who I don't think is
Dan
as good
Campbell?
as I thought he was going to be. I don't know if they're in the playoffs. Mike Daniel
Yeah.
has made can be really bad at times in game with his decision making, his personnel usage, and all these other things.
I have
But
to
he's,
think
they're
about
probably
the
not in the
coaches.
playoffs.
Right. It's an
So
interesting
the one
question.
coach you'd want the Bills to face?
No, want to have.
Oh,
You
want
could
to
put
have.
any coach on, your team.
Well, Dan Campbell. I don't think he gives a damn
I think
about
I'd go
what anybody
O'Connell.
says.
O'Connell?
I think
Yeah, I think I'd go
O'Connell's the best coach.
O'Connell's really good. So I don't know. There's a
Sam
lot.
Darnold is 14-2 this
I
year.
know. All right. There's
I
a
thought
lot.
we were talking about like how aggressive they coach.
Oh well, he's also aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like Campbell.
All right. We have to take a break on the TV side of things. This is probably going to spill into the commercial a little bit, and then we'll answer more of your questions.
By the way, nice product enhancement over there.
Yeah, everybody.
Why don't you turn it around so you get a gift card?
Hey, if you're listening, we're open. I mean, there's so many good comments. I think there's like a lot of people watching right now. Joe says Bills and Lions Super Bowl, which I would think is probably
You're saying Joe on there says Bills and Lions.
Joe on here says Bills and
Did you
Lions
send
Super
him
Bowl.
No, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Joe-
I
Joe
think
B.
that would be the most likely. It's probably Chiefs Lions would be the most likely outcome as far as betting markets are
I
concerned.
don't know if the Lions are going to make it, man.
Oh, I don't either. I mean, if they lose next week, they could be the 5
is
seed.
the one. That's right. If
Minnesota would be the one. The team that I think goes in the NFC? This isn't a shock.
What, Philly?
Yeah,
Really?
Philly's really. I mean, Saquon's awesome. The
Their
defense is
offensive line is awesome.
the offensive line is awesome. The defense is good. Jalen Hurts is really good. AJ Brown is really, really good. Like they got a lot of pieces. That's a team that's just balanced on both sides of the ball. But that's another team.
Defensive secondary has come a long way from
Good.
last year.
Yeah.
because it was a week. It turned
was
into
a weak.
weak
It was a
spot.
weakness, and now it is a strength.
I really like Joe's question. Different Joe. 746. We'll answer that on the next segment here. This is from Christopher. Glad the special teams played better. That aside, if you could pick your favorite Josh Allen throw of the year, what would it be? I love that question. That's a
Not
Chris.
for someone whose
that is
memory
a
sucks.
perfect commercial break question. You nailed it here. Favorite Josh Allen throw of the year?
My memory sucks. I can't. You guys have to
I'm
answer.
also
I
a
don't
bad
remember
memory
that.
guy.
I've got all of them in my head. I'm just trying to figure out which one I like
I mean,
the most.
I'm trying to. Which time when he was just barely ahead of the sideline,
Uh-huh.
throwing to the end zone for a touchdown, would you pick? He's done it multiple times.
Yeah, he's done it
The
multiple
Coleman
times.
throw the other day was sick yesterday.
Yeah, it was pretty
But how many?
spectacular.
Like there have been plays where he is literally just about to get hit by the
Mine
sideline.
might be in Baltimore, the throw to Shakir on the sideline. But the problem is they were getting blown out in that game, so it didn't really feel like it mattered a ton. It did get him back to like a puncher's chance in the game.
It was a wobbler though. Like that wasn't like a pretty throw.
No, it wasn't a pretty throw, but it was probably like 55 yards or something. It was pretty stupid. There was a throw.
I have to go back.
The throw to Matt Collins against the Rams was an absolute seed. The one that brought him, but I think down a field goal. You know the one I'm talking about? I think it made it
I'm
like
trying to envision it in my head. Yeah,
it was like a back shoulder throw just on an absolute rope. That was a pretty spectacular throw. There was a tie. Oh, that's a great Julia in the control room. The
that?
chest pass to Dalton Kincaid that didn't count. He said in his comment, negated by penalty or not. That's a really good one.
Yeah.
The throw to Ty Johnson against the Dolphins was spectacular. All right, we got to come back.
Funny thing is, I don't remember anything.
I know.
don't
That's
remember
why
any
I'm
of
so
those?
bad at this stuff.
No.
They just kind of blend in.
All right, welcome back. A fantastic question from Joe, and I think it is relevant because they still have one regular season game left. Besides Allen, who should be on the bench after the first series against the Patriots?
Let me
Oh,
get out
yeah.
my notebook.
Let Joe
We
get
need
out
more
his
time.
notebook because I feel like we could really get
One
you the
guy?
answers here. No, but I mean,
Oh.
besides who should be on the bench?
How deep
after
is the
first
offensive
series?
line?
Deion Dawkins will be inactive. Is my
Okay,
guess.
so Deion Dawkins probably doesn't play.
Playing Spencer Brown.
I don't think Spencer Brown will play
Don't
much
play
at all.
Rousseau.
Rousseau probably. Daquan Jones is another one. Bent
You don't need to play Oliver.
Sure.
down. McGovern is a sneaky one.
Don't play McGovern.
I'm good with that.
Don't play McGovern.
So we're going to see like Cedric Van Granger, Ryan Vandermark, Alec
No, I
Anderson.
have their lineup right here.
Ideally, play the whole. Can you put a whole backup offensive line out
You
there?
cannot unless you call someone up from the practice squad.
So
which
play
you
the
can do.
guards. Play the guards. Pull the center and the two
No,
tackles.
you can do 4 backups.
Oh, even better.
You
starter.
The Bills are extremely well insulated for this sort of scenario at most spots on their roster. Like they can get away with not playing a bunch of their starters, really any of their starters outside of like you could include Mac Hollins as one of those guys.
Yeah, they're probably going to play like Mac Hollins, Tyrell Shavers.
Cyrus Torrance would probably be the one that starts of the offensive lineman.
Why?
Of the young guy.
Okay, I guess.
The guy we talked about before the show. Play Cook only to get him to 1,000 yards. Then get him the heck out.
Yeah, so James Cook needs 19 yards, I believe, to get to 1,000. I bet they try and get him that. He's 2 touchdowns away from surpassing OJ Simpson, but he's 1 from tying, and I bet that's a record they probably want tied. So I would imagine that if there's going to be a guy who gets a little bit of run, no pun intended, it's probably him. And then maybe if there's a position that they could put him in to break the record, they would try. I think like we see DeMar Hamlin.
Does your guy play? Is this the Micah
no,
Hyde
Micah
game?
Hyde is not going to play.
It's
I feel like he was brought back to be a coach.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think we will ever see Micah Hyde play for the Buffalo Bills again.
It's going to be a Curtis Samuel game.
I think. Yeah, it's a good point. It's probably Curtis Samuel, Mac Hollins.
Get used to seeing Brandon Codrington out there at corner.
At corner.
That's probably
He's
going to
like
happen.
5'7". And
We're going to see a lot of Javon Solomon at defensive end.
Oh yeah, that's not a bad. I kind of like that. I kind of want to see what that
and
guy can
Fuan
do.
Ulafosio is someone who should. Yeah, he'll probably.
Joe
get time.
Andreessen will probably.
But
get a ton of time.
Ulafosio, I don't think has a defensive snap this year to this point.
What are their defensive? Is defensive tackle like Dwayne Carter?
They have
and
6 defensive tackles on the roster.
So it'll probably be Dwayne Carter and
Austin Johnson, Jordan Phillips, Quentin Jefferson. There you go. Ed Oliver and Daquan Jones don't have to touch it. I have the whole thing right here.
Yeah. I bet Sean probably asks Joe. Joe, can I see your notebook?
Morris and Gilliam will be their de facto tight ends.
Yeah.
Look, here's my guess.
3 quarterbacks active?
No, because you can't play Mike White. He would be emergency only. You can't have Josh Allen start the game and have Mike White.
What if something happens to Mitch Trubisky?
Then Josh Allen has to play.
Oh,
hands off every single snap.
Yeah, I don't like that idea, but I guess it makes sense.
I'll give you a prediction. KJ Hamler gets called up for the game.
Oh, I mean that makes sense. KJ Hamler and like
Shavers and Virgil have both have run out of elevation.
So KJ Hamler, and then they probably call up an offensive lineman.
I would say safety, but
Okay.
but tomato.
Neither here nor there. All right, 1 segment left. We'll answer another question during the commercial.
That was
and then
compelling.
we'll put a bow on that. What was that?
That was compelling.
Yes.
I love using my notebook.
Well, I mean, Carlton says if Josh plays a series, shouldn't they have a third quarterback just in case Trubisky gets hurt?
I mean, you can do it.
Could you dress 3 quarters?
You can, but if you have to make him one of your 48.
Yeah.
Who?
Like the
Mike
third
White.
quarterback. You
Yes.
have to make Mike White one of your 48.
And you're
you're
saying
running-
because they need to call up at other positions, that won't happen.
It is less likely of happening.
But he has only been elevated twice.
Right.
So they do have a third
they
elevation.
could use it if they wanted to, but it all depends because then you're taking a spot from somewhere else on the roster. Whereas with you can always just line up like I don't know Ty Johnson at quarterback, and have him hand off every single play.
Oh yeah, who will lead the Bills in carries? Ty Johnson or Ray Davis? Ray Davis,
Yeah.
just younger guy and.
Doesn't have as much work as Ty Johnson. Ty Johnson has a bigger role.
I was going to say,
That's
yeah.
right. You can't
Ty
get
Johnson's
hurt.
been really, really important for them.
He has on several occasions this year outsnapped James Cook.
Several occasions
Really?
this year. Well, he's always on the field on third down,
Third
right?
down, and end of half situations.
This is gosh. Can I hang you out to dry, both of you?
You
How do you-
always do.
Teammate.
I don't know, Jim.
Good team
I'm
player
not,
right
I mean,
there.
I'm not gonna like completely throw you out there, but it's a valid question.
I just won't answer it.
I gotta find the question here. Julia in the control room.
This is the final segment, right?
Was that?
This
This is the final segment. Yes, exactly. I mean, like, there's people who are saying, "Are the Bills going to the Super Bowl?" So, like, I'm not gonna make you answer that because but it's adjacent to that essentially.
Okay.
We're 15 seconds away.
Make it a fast answer though, right? This is
No,
short.
no, we got 2 minutes.
Oh, okay. Math Beauvais.
All right, welcome back. This is funny. Somebody just said, Bill just said, how come no one is talking about the offensive line? We go as the line
Oh,
goes.
in 2 minutes?
Bill, no.
2 minutes?
No. Bill, that is all my friend here in the Gray Blazer has talked about this year is the offensive line. That has been his bit. I'm Micah Hyde.
It's not a bit.
He's the offensive line. I'm Micah Hyde. That's not what I want to ask you, though, because there's a lot of Super Bowl questions.
Not enough time.
So somebody was like, are the Bills going to the Super Bowl? Somebody was like, who's going to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl? If you had to pick right now, I know we're a week away. Who do you think goes to the Super Bowl? AFC and NFC. I'm not going to say who's going to win or whatever, but who do you think has the best or most likely chances of getting to the Super Bowl?
I think Kansas City is running out of luck at
Yeah.
some point. I don't think the Chiefs make it to the Super Bowl.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
So I'm not allowed legally to pick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
But
Yeah.
I'll take Minnesota in the NFC.
Wow. Really? Okay.
What a great story that would be with Darnold.
Okay. How about you?
I'd probably go Philly in the NFC.
Uh-huh.
I don't know in the AFC.
Yeah.
I don't know yet.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair. I think I would go in the NFC, Philly also. In the AFC, I think it's one of two teams. I think it's either the Baltimore Ravens or the Buffalo Bills. I think
Chiefs
it's
have to run out of luck at some point.
Well, then I'm just going to sit here and say the Chiefs if nobody else will, because I will not.
Figures.
I will not sit here and say
No, I mean,
none of us said the Chiefs. are
No,
going
the
to
one
Super
thing is
Bowl.
the Chiefs' path is so much more favorable as the 1 seed. There is a chance. Obviously, they get the bye week. If things go the way they might go, they might in the second round play the Steelers or the Texans at home. They're going to win that game by like 3 touchdowns, and then just like that, they're in the AFC Championship. Hosting it, probably against Baltimore or Buffalo. I mean, those are probably the safe bets. So, I mean, yeah, the Chiefs would make the most sense. But, I mean, I think this Bills team's really good. And in the NFC, I'm pretty confident in Philly. I think they're good. All right, we got 15 seconds. Anything you want to say in the last 10 seconds here?
Everybody have a great New Year.
Everybody have a great New Year. Everybody have a lovely ends to 2024. We hope you have a healthy, happy, and fun 2025. We'll see you next week.
Give Dom a raise.
Bang! That was Mike Breen. Bang! Good night, everyone.